Hello friends, and welcome to this IP Army guide. In this video we're going to be talking about realistic recruiting and roster management. We've got this screen right here that we're going to jump into in just a second, but the purpose of this video, what we're going to outline is basic roster management, how to allocate a specific number of positions, just like in real life. As a former collegiate athlete, I can tell you that there's not going to be a scenario where you have 14 tight ends on the roster, because as we know, this game is a little bit bugged as far as what it tells you to recruit. It's very nice that across the top of the recruiting board we do have position needs, but those aren't exactly accurate if you want to keep it realistic and you want the best opportunity to develop your roster. So this video is for you guys who are looking for a little bit of realism when it comes to offering scholarships, developing your talent, and of course roster management. So let's jump into it. So we're going to use the team that I'm currently using on our dynasty run, which we live stream 5 days a week. Make sure you tune in for that. But let's go ahead and get started with quarterbacks. You can see we've got 4 quarterbacks on the roster. That is not by design. Actually, what we're looking for is to have 5 quarterbacks on roster. And the reason for that is because you kind of want to develop talent. So ideally we'd like to have a senior, a junior, sophomore, freshman, and then one that's redshirted. That's not going to be perfect, but that's the general idea there. And the reason being that there's 5 quarterbacks on roster. Number one, you want to have a capable quarterback as a backup, and then a couple in development, right? So you can see here this group is really close. We've got this JUCO transfer that we're developing. So ideally this would be a freshman, but we got really desperate. In our recruiting class, a lot of the guys that we were going after committed elsewhere late, and we didn't have a whole lot of options, but this is how it looks right here. So for example, in our dynasty, Micah Alejado kind of got shafted by EA Sports. He's from Hawaii. We ended up picking him up when we got the coaching job here at Cal. But this dude misses so many throws. And if you're curious about that, we use classic passing, so every quarterback feels different. But Alejado misses so much, so we needed a capable backup to step up. So our QB1 is actually Bossier here. And then we try to get some development playing time for both Dida and Alejado. If Bossier goes down, we know who we're going with. And the idea here is to have 5 total quarterbacks on roster for that exact reason. You have room to play with as you're developing that younger talent. Just because we were so short last year in our depth chart here as well. Bossier ended up starting as a freshman. I try to avoid that. Very rarely do I personally have a true freshman starting. This is going to be the exception. We took over Cal, and so many people transferred out after a terrible year they had right before we got here. And we kind of had some of the brand issues and championship contender issues that a lot of people left. So we do have, that's going to be the exception for us here. But 5 quarterbacks. We're going to talk about recruiting right after I go over the number of positions. I'm going to show you guys why. So stay tuned for that. At running back, we also have 5 running backs. 5 quarterbacks, 5 running backs. The reason is exactly the same. How we run it is we have a feature back. So in this case, it's going to be Chad Phipps, who is a subscriber to the channel. If you guys are interested in joining want to be coached by Coach IP and join our dynasty, make sure you join the Discord. But both Scary Terry and Chad Phipps are subscribers to the channel. So is DeAndre Bossier. But back to the running backs. 5 running backs on the roster for the exact same reason. We have a feature back, and then we have a third down back, and typically a power back. So we've got 3 different roles. Then we want to have a third guy, right, who can bounce into any position, which is going to be Kenyon here, who is a JUCO transfer. And then you've got your red shirt on another guy. So that's the idea behind having a minimum of 5 running backs on the roster. All of these numbers, by the way, are going to fit within your 85 roster cap with room. So hear me out on all of this. At fullback, we typically keep 2 fullbacks. And what I like to do is, like right now, I'm recruiting a fullback. We'll go into that because next year this guy's going to be a senior. we could put the red shirt on the freshman, so he'll be a freshman red shirt. And fullbacks typically don't leave early for the draft, so you get 5 years out of your fullback, but you can keep 2 fullbacks on your roster here, 1 for development and 1 that's your starter. Off to wide receiver, I like to keep 8 wide receivers on roster. You only have like 3 to 4 depending on what style of offense you run, but we keep it to where we keep our players fresh. So you're seeing a lot of turnover and subs. So I like to keep 8 on the roster. Plus, the idea behind this roster set is there's an A team and a B team. If you want to put your backups in, if for garbage time in any game, you're gonna have people at their position. You're not gonna have like a tackle playing tight end because you don't have enough tight ends. So this whole system here is designed for an A team and a B team with plenty of room for innovation. But we want 8 guys on the roster at wide receiver. We run a 3 wide set, and then of course we got the backups, and then you've got 2 guys getting developed here, and you can interchange these. We've had games where our receivers just can't catch a damn thing, and we'll pull a guy from down here and stick him out. I typically go by height when I'm determining what receiver position they play, but we'll slot them in there and they end up killing it, and we save the game. So we want that ability to take guys in and out. At tight end, I like to keep 5 guys on the roster at tight end. We lost a lot here due to both graduation and transfer, so we are adding a couple. But 5 tight ends is kind of the same thing. We got a goal line set. You want all 3 tight ends on the line. If you have an injury to one of them, you want to make sure you have a backup. And then of course, we've got a guy in development, right? So everything's covered. You're not going to have tackles rolling out the tight end. You've got tight ends in tight end places. For all your offensive line positions, we want 3, right? We've got A team, B team, development. So you can see here our seniors like are really bad. This would ideally be a freshman wearing a red shirt, and this is across all 5 offensive line positions. So we've got your starter, your backup, and then your development guy. And the idea here, so let's say Clayton goes down, Barrymore's going to step up, and then you can slot in, you can pull the red shirt off of this guy and make him the backup. So you have a left tackle at left tackle or whatever position on the line that it is. And if you're fortunate to make it through the season without injuries, you've got a development year, which by the way, your true freshman can play in 4 games, or any person who hasn't got that red shirt can play in 4 games plus the postseason, which is your conference championships, which is your bowl games, and you can still redshirt them. So typically I take the red shirt off, I put them at backup. Once the depth chart, the injury comes off, I reorder the depth chart, put the red shirt back on, and that usually works out unless it's a season ender. So offensive line, defensive line, they're both the same. Here we've got 4 guys, but we typically keep 3. I absolutely despise having 3 guys in the same class at the same position, because this is going to create havoc for us once these guys are all seniors. So typically I'll take the right edge or the left edge, and I'll move them to right edge. But as you can see here, we had a ton of guys just leave. We got a true freshman that's starting, which is very rare. But we had a ton of guys just leave the program. This was an absolute fire job. We're rebuilding it. But 3 edges here. Okay, your interior defensive line, we want 4 guys. Defensive tackle is a position that is injured more than any other that I've seen in the game. So I like to keep your 2 starters, you've got your backup, and then you've got your development. And if these guys get injured long term, you've got enough defensive tackles to play defensive tackle. At linebacker, we keep 3 on your outside positions, just like the defensive line. Same exact concept here. And at Mike, we got lucky and we got 2 4-star guys here. But at Mike, this is another IP Army member, subscriber, Dano Rex. Why we put him on the roster, but we got 4 here for the exact same reason as your defensive tackle. So typically your Mike linebackers are going to be a little bit slower, but occasionally you're going to get a guy like this who's mid speed, and this guy can slot in and play some outside backer too if you get into a pinch. But I like to keep 4 guys at Mike linebacker because this is the field general of the defense. You want to make sure So you can see the dev trait down here at the bottom, right behind my head. Right, so you got some guys that are impact, you got some normal guys. Where we're at, you can see we're in year 4 of our dynasty. We're only at level 12, so we're slowest XP gaining here. And I don't know what the dev trait's going to be, so sometimes we're going to have a star, like Dano might be a star in his development trait. I'll just look right quick. You know, he's normal, but sometimes he would be like a crazy development trait, and he ends up being a starting caliber. So I like to have 4 middle linebackers and just watch the development there, but you typically only need 2 to be in there and play. And the other 2 guys are going to be straight development, maybe slotting in when it's garbage time. Cornerbacks, guys, I keep, just like wide receivers, I keep 8 of them, because you're looking at a lot of dime, a lot of nickel sets, where you're going to need some depth, and you want an A team and a B team, right? So that's at most. We've got 4 cornerbacks on the field, and we've got a whole development team if we've got garbage time. How it works out though is only these 2, your 2 starters, will be pulled when it's garbage time. So you can keep your development at the bottom. You can keep the red shirt on the guys. So if you sub in your second team, you'll still have 4 guys to play the field, right? And same thing, anybody goes down with an injury, you're free to pull a red shirt off, put it back on once that injury's cleared, just to have these guys getting the playing time that they deserve. And that's going to help with their development, I promise you. Free safety and strong safety, we like to keep 3 guys on the roster. Many times it's very hard on this game, I don't know why, to find strong safeties. So sometimes I'll keep an extra free safety and then move him over to a strong safety because we can't find anybody. There's nobody available. Also, your bigger cornerbacks. So, for example, this dude's 6 foot 204. He's only an 89 speed. If we had another cornerback, you can see we're pretty mid in the overall here. This guy would have been 100% moved to a safety. He's a bigger body guy. Typically not somebody you're going to find on the corner, 200 plus pounds at the collegiate level. So we would have moved him over to safety. You can see all these guys are pretty big. This guy was a former cornerback, but he's only 84 speed, so he moved him. At strong safety, this guy played corner. He's 202 pounds, mid speed. He makes a great safety. On that note, so we've got 3 at the safeties. Anytime you have a will linebacker that is 6'4", 230 plus, they make amazing edges. Okay. And then we've had an edge who's now starting at, he was an edge for us last year, 5'11". He gained like almost 10 pounds, but 5'11", 230 pounds. This guy was a perfect linebacker. He was getting absolutely smoked on the edge, so we moved him to linebacker. Way small for an edge, especially at Cal Berkeley, but he makes a great outside linebacker. Approaching 250 pounds here. We're going to hopefully put the brakes on his weight gain, but yeah, that's how we change some of those positions. Kickers, we can keep 2 kickers on the roster. If you don't like that idea, kickers have never been hurt. So what I'll typically do, we're recruiting a kicker right now because next year Kern's going to be a senior, and then we've got a red shirt on our kicker, meaning we get 5 years of development out of the kicker. And we do the same thing with a punter, but with this idea of 2 kickers, 2 punters, 2 fullbacks, and all the positions we just talked about, that is a total of 78 positions. You now have 7 flex scholarships, as we call it here at the IP Army, and that means a 5-star's interested in the school. We have 5 quarterbacks, but this guy's the #1 quarterback in the class. We can take him, and we've got room on the roster. Oh, another 4-star edge wants to come. We've already got our position. We can add him. Up to 7 guys we can add. I want to develop a different kicker. I can add him to the roster, have 3 kickers on the roster. A guy specializes in long snapping, etc., etc. You can get kind of creative with that. We like to have a lot of fun with what we do with those 7 flex scholarship positions. But from here, guys, I'm going to talk about recruiting and how we use this method to recruit and why it's so effective. Based on game logic, EA doesn't do the best job. I love that they've made some changes for us here, but they don't do the best job in the recruiting UI. And here's why, guys. You can see just based on our logic, we need 5 tackles. So if you see up top, it says you need to recruit 5 tackles. According to our logic of 3 positions everywhere, we need 3 tackles. So we're going to add 2 tackles for what? We also need a strong safety. We've already got 4 strong safeties. Why do we need another one? We need 2 defensive tackles. That's a flex position for us. We've already got 4 defensive tackles. You see what I'm saying here? So it's great to have this look here, but this is not accurate. They're telling you to upgrade specific positions if you can. If you're just going off this logic, I've seen a lot of you guys out there who are like, oh, I need 5 tackles. I'll go late in the year, I'll go get a 1-star or a 2-star just to meet that need, just to turn off that red notification. And that's the worst thing you can do, because you're gonna have a need. Like let's say you've only got 4 wide receivers on your roster now, and you've got a total of 20 offensive linemen. This is flawed logic. So that's how we set up our recruiting board and how it differs from here. And we keep notes old school on a piece of paper. I've also done this in Excel, but I like to have things right in front of me. Okay. So let's jump back into our roster here, and I'm now going to tell you how we set up our recruiting board. All right. So with this logic here, we need 5 quarterbacks on roster. So already we need 1. I'm recruiting 1. I actually have on our sheet 2 quarterback needs, because we do have 1 graduating. So we have 2 open scholarships for a quarterback. Okay. Same logic over here. We have 1 open scholarship for running back, 1 open scholarship for fullback. How many do we got? We've got 1 guy graduating. We've got 1 wide receiver position open on scholarship. We've got 1 tight end, so on and so forth. So here's an example. We've got 2 4-star quarterbacks on our roster, on our recruiting board, and 1 3-star quarterback. Why do I have 3? Because we're likely not going to land the 2 4-star quarterbacks. We're kind of in a battle with they're really good. One of them has 13 scholarship offers. So we're likely not going to win that, and we don't want to waste hours doing that. So the minute we get a recruit, we've only got 2 available. So now we have 1 quarterback position available. If another guy signs, we immediately stop recruiting that 3rd quarterback. Does that make sense? So hopefully we get the 2 4-stars. We can let the 3-star go, but we never over recruit at this position. So again, just another look here. We need 3 at this position. This is a prime example. We've got 2 seniors, so we need 0. We're net 0 at the moment, but 2 seniors are leaving. We need 2 tackles. You guys see what I'm saying? And then on top of that, we replace portal players with portal players. So if you go into your recruiting here, sometimes we win this, but you can never predict the transfer portal. So when you look at your school, you can already see our playing style. We've got a right tackle looking to transfer. We've got a wide receiver looking to transfer, and a quarterback. Now we can kind of gauge this. DeMarco's likely not going to transfer. We might be able to sway landing. The worst thing to do here, guys, would be to recruit based on what an early season risk of transfer looks like. All right. You don't want to overstack. But you can, some of these you can tell right away. So championship contender, if we're 3-3 halfway through the season, I can pretty much say right here, okay, our strong safety is likely going to transfer. I can either wait for the portal and replace him 1 for 1. We lose a strong safety, we have a strong safety scholarship open up, or I can think ahead, go after a strong safety at the high school level. The reason I don't like to do that, I like to go 1 for 1 in the portal, is because this is a guy who is typically not a redshirted freshman. You've already laid the foundation with your redshirt freshman. You're gonna need a guy that can come in and be a contributor right away, and the portal's often the best place to do that. If I don't have anybody in the portal, I will look for a JUCO transfer from your prospect list. So if you don't know what the JUCO transfer thing is, If you go to this class right here, right, you can sort this out. You've got JUCOs in here, so these guys have playing experience at the junior college level, and you can bring these guys, and typically their awareness is really high. They're not the best players, but their awareness is really high, which good awareness on field makes for good AI decisions. Okay, trust me on that one. So we'll if we've got a guy that's looking to transfer late, we'll either transfer portal them one for one. So we've got a strong safety that is transferring. There's no way to keep them. It's done and dusted. The transfer portal is now open. We go to our list. We now write open strong safety position. We look for a strong safety. So that's how we do it here on the IP Army. That is the most realistic way. So you see these kids on Instagram got an offer from here. All of a sudden, you know, there's a bunch of big names. USC, I got one from Michigan, I got one from Oregon, and all of a sudden this dude's committed to Utah State. Why didn't you just commit to Oregon? Well, this kid sat on it. They filled those positions and they revoked that scholarship offer. That's why there's so much craziness in real life with some of these dudes who are saying, I got an offer here, but I'm playing at Fresno State. I'm playing at Kennesaw State. I'm a Coastal Carolina kid. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that works. If they get their guy, like here's a scholarship offer, make sure, even kids that commit, this is what happens in real life. Even kids that like, I'm going to go to Michigan. I'm going to be a tight end at Michigan. Michigan is going to come late. They're going to say, hey, we're going to pull that offer from you because we got our guy. We got our 5-star guy. So the 3-star guy, we don't have room for. So that's how you apply the realistic recruiting and roster management via IP Army. That's how we do it. That's how we've been having a lot of success around here. Granted, we're not winning championships every single year. Last season on the last game, we won 2 national championships in 21 years, but we also turn all our sliders up on Heisman mode, so it's very difficult. But I hope this video helps you. If this thing has interest for you, make sure you show some love, leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing and joining the IP Army. We live stream 5 days a week where we're gonna play our team here. If you're interested in getting on our recruiting board, playing for Coach IP and joining some of the brotherhood, make sure you reach out, say hello, join the Discord, get involved. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the love. I appreciate you. Any ideas that you guys want to see, throw them in the chat below, and we'll do it again soon. Peace.